So today we have a very important Social Security update that we need to get to because according to multiple reports, Social Security and the longevity of it all hinge on one thing. I want to break down what that one thing is, how we are being impacted today because of it, but what the Trump administration is trying to do to ensure that they can provide for the American people. Now, I did a video just yesterday talking about how Donald Trump in a Las Vegas rally or whatever you call it, he actually was talking about eliminating income tax or taxes on tips. But I told you that there's reports that the Trump administration through leaks is actually considering eliminating income tax entirely for almost everybody. So that is where things got very interesting because then people started asking, well, if we eliminate income tax, how does Social Security get funded? Well, we're going to talk about that today because again, there's some big changes that are being lined up as we speak. So I'll break all this down in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So Social Security is one of those programs that many people have questions about. Is it going to be around in the next 20 years, 50 years? Well, we don't know because as of right now, Social Security will become insolvent within the next 9 years, which means Social Security beneficiaries would actually receive a 22 to 23% cut instantly. And that would cripple many people. Now, look at this. It says a majority of Americans oppose cuts to Social Security and Medicare. And it's true. The majority of Americans do not want to see Social Security or Medicare get reduced. But I want to read you this. Okay? This is what I've been told. And from some very... They're people that are within Congress. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. It says, everything hinges on the success of Trump's big plans. If the Trump administration has success and can deport hundreds of thousands or millions of illegal immigrants, that is going to free up the resources for the American people, which means all those illegal immigrants that are getting housing, okay, whether it's subsidized or not, that are getting health care, that are getting food, okay, that are getting some benefits. And again, pulling from the resources of the American people. If the Trump administration can be successful and deport many of those people, again, it frees up more resources. Then, and again, this is where it gets interesting, okay? Because the Trump administration has to pay for the deportations. Okay? The money has to come from somewhere. How do we pay for the planes to fly, hundreds of thousands or 1 million people back to their home countries? How do we do it? Right? That's the big question. On top of that, the Trump administration wants to get the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act extended. This is another big deal. Okay? And wants to bring more businesses back into the United States. Well, guess what? All these things are playing a factor into whether or not we see Social Security's insolvency date get pushed back, or are we going to see some cuts as soon as it becomes insolvent, which is likely going to be in 2033 or 2034. Listen to this. Reports indicate that the Trump administration is looking to make substantial cuts. Yeah, substantial cuts. But not to Social Security. Look at this. It says Republicans reportedly ready to cut Medicaid funding to pay for Trump plans. It says House and Senate Republicans float ideas to pay for Trump's immigration crackdown and to fund tax cuts. Okay. That was just a few days ago. That was 3 days ago. Now, there are many Republicans that want to see cuts to Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and SNAP benefits and every other social program out there. There's others that say no, that's not the way to go. But listen to this. According to reports, we will likely see certain medications limited through Medicare. There will be some adjustments. There will be some modifications. So there will be some limits to the medicine that we see. We keep on hearing about like weight loss drugs. Right? That's up in the air. It also says we will also see work requirements for programs like SNAP benefits, Medicaid. We're going to see work requirements. Okay? And there's more changes on the way. Let me read this to you. It says Republicans are reportedly prepared to cut Medicaid funding to pay for Donald Trump's promised crackdowns on immigration and to fund tax cuts that would mostly benefit the wealthy. Now, initially, yes, these tax cuts are benefiting the wealthy, the businesses, is essentially. So Donald Trump is a businessman. He wants to ensure that the businesses are successful because then we see the trickle-down economics. If the business is successful, the workers will be successful. They can then go and buy a house, buy a car, put their kids through school, buy clothing, buy food, and it works and it builds the entire economy. That's what he's going with. It says the GOP in the House and Senate have floated a series of ideas, many of which would target lower income Americans to cover the cost of extending the tax cuts passed by Trump in 2017. It says among the proposals is a plan to reduce access to Medicaid, the government scheme which provides health insurance to low-income Americans in a move which would cause 600,000 people to lose access to health care. It says Trump has touted the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act as a key achievement of his first term. The legislation, which reduced the top corporate income tax rate from 35 to 21%, is set to expire at the end of 2025. Keep in mind this number right here, that when it reduced the top corporate income tax rate from 35% to 21%, what this did is this actually propelled businesses to put that 14% savings back into their business. Some companies, and again, this is the tough part, is all they did was padded the pockets of their executives. That's it, right? But many put the money back into their business to grow it. Now, I want to read you a couple other things. It says, along with the Medicaid cut, which would introduce work requirements that would effectively strip 600,000 people of their health care coverage, Republicans are considering ending Medicaid for non-U.S. citizens and repealing the Biden-era tax credits, which are designed to reduce health costs, according to the New York Times. Now, here's the thing, and I want to be very clear on this, okay? This is what I was told. I was told that the reports are saying that these changes are coming. According to this person, they're saying these changes are discussed daily. In order to pay for President Trump's deportation of illegal immigrants, okay? In order to pay for that changes have to happen immediately. This is why we're seeing Elon Musk talking about a penny being worth 1 cent but costing 3 cents to produce. Yeah, he wants to almost eliminate that. He also wants to bring back workers into the office, so all federal workers are mandated to come back to work, right? No remote work unless it's absolutely necessary. Well, guess what? There's going to be mass layoffs as a result of this, okay? Getting rid of the EV mandate that by 2035 or whenever it was, every single federal vehicle has to be electric. Getting rid of that brings the cost down per year. Okay? There's other things that the Trump administration is looking at, the Department of Government Efficiency is looking at as well to bring down costs today. Right? They're eliminating workers, federal employees. They're being eliminated every single day in order to bring down the costs for the American people. That right there, the savings, is going to pay for all the deportations. And I know you're probably wondering, well, again, how does this impact Social Security? This is the plan. These are the steps. Okay, I'm just laying out for you. The success of the deportations and the other small changes are going to dictate how successful the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is going to be. Keep in mind, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is going to bring more businesses back to the United States. Okay? Promote manufacturing within the U.S. That's according to the reports. And all that is going to determine how much can be done for Social Security. If we can increase the revenue that's being pulled from businesses and workers, right, through the Social Security taxes, then we could potentially push the insolvency date back. Right? We bring more people into work. And again, this is a double-edged sword here because we're trying to bring in more people to work, yet we're deporting millions, right? Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, potentially 1 million plus people we're going to deport, which again, we don't know how many of them are working illegally, but even working illegally, you're paying into the system. The only difference is when it comes for the time for you to retire, you will not get the money back. That's the difference. So now, and this is according to multiple reports over the past decade, I believe, they're saying that illegal immigrants have contributed so much to Social Security that it's crazy to think, but in the next 20 plus years, Social Security could look completely different. We might have to revamp the entire program. So we'll see what happens there. But this is where we're at. Okay, this is where we're at. Social Security isn't something that is something that we can just say, hey, let's get all of Congress together. Let's get the president and the vice president together, and let's talk about how we can reform Social Security. It's not that simple. There has to be steps. And the problem is the Biden administration didn't take the initial steps over the past 4 years. And because of that, and even the first term for President Trump, he didn't really tackle these issues. And so now we're up against the clock. We got 9 years before Social Security becomes insolvent. And that right there, for many, is absolutely scary. So we'll see what happens moving forward, but I just wanted to lay out what the plans are looking like at this time because, again, everything is hinging on the success of this mass deportation event that the Trump administration is doing. So as we get more information, more updates on this, I promise I will bring you all the latest news and updates, but that's what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.